If you work for an industrial or manufacturing company and your website just isn't performing the best that it can from a conversion standpoint, then on this episode, I'm going to walk you through the key areas to focus on.
Gladiator in this art of war. What you think that I've been fighting for? Got a cape on like a superhero. They rushing at me like a matador. Nah, I don't need your energy. I don't need the negativity. I'm just trying to bring my people up. Promise y'all I got the remedy. Straight to the roof, tell them we bringing the troops. We got a little surprise, you thinking that we need the truth. We give it 120, we never make an excuse. So go run and tell everybody down that we coming for you.
What is the current use and the traditional use of the industrial website? So traditionally, it's just like a validation of like, we do this, we sell this, we service this. Somebody calls, emails, pokes them on LinkedIn. They're like, yeah, check out our company. Most industrial companies just use it as just that validation. Maybe a couple of years ago, they went through and said, yeah, we're going to spend some money, update our website. They spend $10, $20, $30,000 if you're a smaller company. And they update their website because they're trying to drive more traffic in, trying to get more people in, and then they just forget about it. So what you have to keep in mind is that from a update standpoint, budget standpoint, you can't just update and overhaul your website and then 4 years later expect it to perform at the same level. So much has changed in the last 4 years. Just like technology in your manufacturing plants, so much changes in a couple of years. So does tactics and strategies with websites. And so you have to constantly update it. And I'm not saying you have to spend $20,000 or $30,000 every 2 years, but if you did a good job the first time and you worked with an agency like MFG Tribe to do it for you, or another agency that understands your market, understands your demographic of who you're trying to go after, what you're trying to sell, and you did that, then over the next few years, all you have to do is minor updates and tweaks to it as long as it was done correctly in the first place. These days, your website can be your most powerful tool because it never sleeps. It's always on. It's always there. People are searching throughout the night. People are searching throughout the day. Are you showing up? Once you do show up and they click into your website, is it putting the best foot forward? But it's like this static thing up there that's always there that people can go to. So wouldn't you want to make sure that your website is the most, valuable piece of content that's out there for you guys, especially with your existing traffic? Like once they come to it, nobody's there to walk them through and be like, oh no, don't pay attention to that. Or this is really what our value proposition is, even though it's not updated. Nobody's there to see it. So you've got traffic that's coming in without any sort of hand holding, that's looking at your brand. Can they understand what it is that you do? Can they easily get in contact with you? Do they understand your value proposition, your services, things like that? And most of the time, the answer would be no, they can't. Jumping ahead to the next point, let's talk about on-page SEO, because something has to change. Most industrial manufacturing companies, on-page SEO, frankly, just sucks. And it's usually because they did not spend the right time, or they did not partner with the right agency like MFG Tribe that understands how people are searching, what are they searching, and then how to get you at the top of those Google search results. So something that you can audit very easily is your on-page SEO. Something you could do right now is go to your company's website, go to any page on the website, and in the tab, in whether you're using Chrome, Firefox, Safari, whatever, in the top tab where it shows that your tab is open, if you just hover over that, a little dialog box should pop out and it should show you some text. And if that text says what the name of the page is, like home or about us or something like that, that means that your meta title for that page is not optimized. So I'm assuming that if your meta title for that page is not optimized, then your meta description is probably not optimized. And what does that mean? Meta title and meta description is what shows up when somebody searches you, whether they're searching your company name, whether they're searching something that you do, whether it's industrial automation, robotics integration, machine shop, anything like that. If they're searching it, this is what shows up. And if what shows up is home and a vertical bar and your company name and a phone number, that's not optimized for that search phrase. And then the description below it also probably hasn't been customized. You get roughly 160 characters of text in that meta description, and it needs to be optimized for SEO. But most of the time people say, I just spent $20,000, $30,000 on a website. They should have updated my on-page SEO and everything should be good to go. But most of the time it actually is not. Whether it was because the company didn't know better, or it was because they didn't technically pay for that because they looked at the scope of the work and on-page SEO optimization was not included in there. That is, like, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and you got what you got. But you have to update and change that. Now we can get into the H1 tags and H2 tags and things like that. But I've got other videos. Go to my YouTube channel, look for Kyle Milan, and you can see my SEO videos about what to look for. But at the end of the day, what industrial companies have to realize is that the search phrases that you're going after, whether it's like aerospace machining or 5-axis machining or industrial automation or plastics or corrugator or whatever it is that you're going after, for the most part, the search phrase volume behind those search phrases is low. It's less than 1,000 people a month in the entire country of the United States are Google searching that. So if you've got less than 1,000 people searching it, it is even more important for you to show up on the first page and preferably in the first 1 or 2 positions. You can Google search and look at the stats. The percentage of people that click position 3, 4, 5, 10, it drastically goes down. It's something like the people that show up first get like 33% of the clicks. People that show up second get like 18% of the clicks. And it's like 10% of the clicks for position 3. I mean, if you've only got a small group of people, and small relative to the term that Google searches in the millions per month in the United States on brands and consumer products and things like that, millions of searches versus your small little blip of 500, 750, 1,000 searches a month. If you're not showing up in those top 3, you may as well be just on page 10, right? So the goal is to take you from page 10 and move you up. The only way to do that is, 1, fix your on-page SEO, which is done by doing the meta title description, the keywords, the H1, H2, H3 tags. You can Google search and look on the YouTube videos for all of this, exactly how to do it, or partner with somebody that says that they're going to do it correctly. But you're going after specific phrases for each one of your pages that then, in a pyramid standpoint, support each other. So you have relevant themes and things like that that are on your website, that if you're talking about CNC machining on page 1, 5-axis machining on a different page, aerospace machining on a different page, those all go under the same theme and the same phrases. So Google then looks at it and says, dude, you're a subject matter expert in this. All these things go together. Google knows that because that's the way the algorithm is, and understands that all these phrases and searches go together. So we're going to boost them all because you obviously are the subject matter expert. Now, it doesn't happen that fast. You have to constantly look at it and make micro adjustments once you see something not going the way it should. But focusing on your on-page SEO is, from an organic standpoint, you're trying to boost those organic search results, and you have to do it now, today, because it takes a while. It could take 60, 90 days to see a significant movement. Or if it's not a very competitive phrase and there's 300 people searching for it, and the people that are showing up 1, 2, and 3 are just happen to be there by luck, then you can steal those positions from them. And that's what you want to do. Is that most industrial manufacturing companies, and I say this to all new people that are prospects that are doing discovery calls with us, I'm like, most of the time they're not even defending those positions. Okay, so they got there to page 1, they got to position 1, 2, or 3 for whatever reason, whether it was intentional or not. If it was intentional, it was probably a couple of years ago. If it was not intentional, who knows? But they're not there actually defending it. So it's easier for you to take over and quickly go up there if you have a strategic plan, but you have to fix that on-page SEO. Almost every single company we talk to every single week has some major issues with their on-page SEO. And this is not just small companies that are a couple million a year in revenue. I'm talking bigger companies that are 40, 50, 100 million a year in revenue. They just never paid attention to it. The fastest way to get more traffic and more movement is to get higher up in the search results. What people do, if you can't get there organically quickly, is they run paid ads and they boost out the paid ads to show up above those organic search results. But most searchers are knowledgeable to say, like, when I Google search something, the first 4 or 3 positions are ads because it says ad, and then I want to get to the organic. So the key is you got to do something today. On-page SEO is killing your traffic, and it's killing the strategic people that you want to get to. They're not searching a lot, right? Let's just agree with that. But when they are searching, are you showing up? That's what it is at the end of the day. Step number 3 is going to be the page navigation. When you look at your website, how is your top menu set up? Can you easily navigate to where you want to go to? If you're in multiple industries, do you have an industries tab? If you have multiple services, are they all under one area of services that are broken out strategically? Is the list of those services strategic? Are you just going to do something alphabetical? I wouldn't. Whenever we build new companies' websites, I ask them, what's the highest performing service that you have? What makes you the most amount of money? Okay, we want to put that first in this drop down of services. I don't want to do alphabetical. I want to do what matters to the company. How can we easily get somebody to that page? Make it first. How do we organize and structure the menu? You want to make it easy and intentional for people to go to where if you want them to go to a certain spot, from a UX standpoint, you're trying to design for user experience to say, if I want them to go to this page, how easy am I making it for them to go to that page without doing any crazy pop-ups that show up on the full screen saying, click on this page and we want to go to the services. Without doing things like that, you really want to focus on looking at that menu structure. A lot of times the menus of industrial manufacturing companies are so big. You click on one and it drops down and there's 12 services, and then you hover over it and a menu kicks out to the right side. There's 6 more services. It's just too busy. You cannot control people if you give them that many options, right? Like, it's like if you're doing a race and you're trying to go from point A to point B and there's walls next to you and you can only go one of 3 paths, but they all lead essentially to the same exit, then you just want to give them 3 paths. But if you say, look, you can go anywhere you want and here's 14 different paths, then you're going to lose people once they get into your website. Then you really have to make sure that every single page of your website is optimized for user experiences, optimized for call to actions. They can easily get the information that they want to get, and they can easily get to wherever they want to get to. But you can't do that if you're just allowing people free reign to go wherever they want in your menu structure. You have to somewhat organize it and be strategic about how you do it. The last step is going to be looking at the conversions and booking time. So for most industrial companies and most manufacturing companies, when you go to the Contact Us page, you see a form that you fill out. Whether the form asks you strategic questions or it just says name, company, what's your project, upload a file for an RFQ or whatever it is, that's kind of the standard. But you really want to look at it from a standpoint like, if the goal is to get them to contact you, what is the experience like once they get to that Contact Us page? Is it an outdated map look where it shows your zoomed out view of your location? Like, is that really important? Do you still have the directions button up there so people can easily click on it and go to directions to your plant? We've worked with clients that just last year had a directions button. Nobody's using that. They're going in their phone and getting directions through a Google Maps search or an Apple Maps search. So you want to look at once they get there. So you've done all this work, all this marketing to get attention to your brand, to get traffic to your website. Once they get to your website, can they easily navigate and go to wherever you want them to go? And let's just say that you get them to the point where they're like, I've learned enough to where I want to contact these people, and they click that Contact Us page. Or ideally, there's been Contact Us call to actions throughout every single page of your website. And they get to that page. Once they land on that page, what's that experience like? The best way to do it, and the way that we're pushing all of our clients to do, is to have some sort of calendar app on the Contact Us page where people can book time directly with whoever it is that they want to talk to. So if you have multiple salespeople, let's say in different regions, you can have a drop down to where they select what state are you in, what region are you in, and then from there, the page changes and there's the person. It's Joe, and Joe works in the Northeast region. And here's Joe's calendar, and I want to book time with him. This cuts out the middleman of going back and forth and the old conversations that you have via email where it's like, does next Tuesday at 10 work? No, I'm booked. How about Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time? Nope, that doesn't work for me. How about Friday? Well, what does your schedule look like? Send me your whole schedule through an email. That back and forth 4, 5, 6 times, let's take all of that out of the equation and remove time from it and say, look, here's the person you're going to talk to. Here's their calendar. Click the date. From the date, it pops up with their calendar. What time is available? Look at your calendar. Click to confirm that time. Now, the key is once they're trying to click to confirm that time, this is when you hook up and ask them the strategic questions. Name, email, phone number, company, and more importantly, how did you find us? Because if you're doing this marketing every day, you want to understand what's working, right? You can ask them on the phone, how did you find us? How did you first learn about us? Was it a referral? Was it a web search? Was it a video? Was it LinkedIn? You can ask them, but most of the time people forget. So just include it in the form to where it's already there. They just have to click a button, but you ask those strategic questions. Then you can ask any more questions. How dire is this project? Do you need something quickly? Or are you just looking and searching for suppliers at this point? You can have a button to upload information, upload, files, prints, project information, RFPs type stuff. You can have buttons in there for it, but you want to make it as easy as possible for them to book time with you. And then once that happens, whether you're using an app like Calendly, which is something that we used to use, now we're on to HubSpot because we're fully integrated with HubSpot and a partner with them. So we use HubSpot's calendar app for our website. Any clients that have HubSpot, we upgrade them and put their their calendar location of whoever it is that's the salesperson up into their contact area. And it's night and day difference, right? So like, is it going to boost conversions? It will a little bit. You may think like, no, it's not because people are already going there. They're going to fill out the form. Yeah, but most of the time those forms are broken or they can't access them or the email gets sent and then it goes to a general email system and it gets distributed to 6 people internally and then nobody knows who's following up and who's going to talk to them. And so yes, it will increase conversions if you do something as simple as put a calendar app up there and integrate it. But it's also the experience. Like, are you on the cutting edge? Your technology, your manufacturing, your industrial, whatever it is that you're doing, you're saying like, we're the best. Here's how we do it. We got the best equipment. We got the fastest equipment. We're all about efficiencies, operation speed, all that stuff. But then they go to your website and like, dude, this is like from 2008. And then they fill out some generic ghetto form that they send information to, and then you guys get back to them via email, and then it's back and forth. Like, it's 2022. Like, you need to step it up and have a calendar app built into it. Pick whichever one you want. But that's the way that you're going to be able to really drive home and convert people, make it as easy as possible. The goal is make it as easy as possible for somebody to do business with you. Is your current website doing that? So you really need to think about this. Look at those tips that I just went through and understand like you don't have to spend $20,000, $30,000. It could be minor little tweaks. If you just did a website overhaul, you can maybe just integrate a couple of things, change the menu structure a little bit, but you have to look at it from the standpoint of, if all my marketing activity is to drive people to the website, what's the experience like once they get there? And if you can't see the trees through the forest because you're too involved into it, then ask somebody else to look at it and ask them their opinion. Can you easily get to, do you understand what it is that we do on this website? Can you easily get to the contact us? You know, what's the page that you clicked on the most? What do you see when you first land on this page? Ask anybody else's opinion if you're not sure about it. But doing little things like changing the contact form and changing the contact page to be more user friendly makes a massive improvement on the experience that people are going through. And I guarantee it will boost your conversions. Even if it's a little bit initially, it will boost your conversions. And then integrating in all of your new stuff, right? Like if you got videos or articles or things like that, making all that stuff easily accessible throughout the website, putting them on the contact us page, an overview video, or one of your pillar pieces of content, or if you're trying to hire somebody, putting a careers video on the careers page or job videos on the job pages and things like that. Make it as easy as possible and as dumbed down as possible for people that once they come to your website, they get to wherever it is that they want to get to. If you're on YouTube and you want to follow me on LinkedIn, you can find me over there under Kyle Milan. Just hit that follow button. Send me a connection request if you want. We are back every single week, twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, with live events and pushing out this video content, free content for you guys to help you out in whatever your journey is. So that'll end it for today's episode, and we will see you on the next one.